Welcome to Fearless Sports Performance. Alex Acevedo here. Today I want to talk to you about something that's really important to me, that I'm really passionate about, and that is recovery. So what we'll get into is exactly what recovery looks like, the science behind it, and then what exercises and different modalities that we can use to do that. So as you can see in the stimulus recovery adaption graph, what we're looking at is a stimulus, which is the training, in which your muscles actually break down and get weaker. Then you recover, and that's when your muscles rebuild. This is when you're sleeping, when you're eating, and when you're taking that time to allow your muscles to build back up. And then you pass that baseline where you started at, and you make the adaption where your performance is now higher than it was originally before the stimulus. Then it starts over and you have another stimulus, your muscles break down, you recover again, and then you make that adaption. And this continues, and if done properly, you'll see in this graph that you'll continue to get better and better and better over time. But one thing we'll see is when guys train too frequently, they don't give enough time for their body to recover, and they never make that adaption. And so the stimulus is just making that athlete less and less able to perform whatever task it is at hand as they continue to break down their muscles more and more. We also see guys who train too infrequently, where their body recovers, makes the adaption, but they don't hit it with another stimulus. And then their body begins to slow down, plateau, it gets a little bit weaker, lowers below that baseline, and then they hit the stimulus again. And with that, we're not gonna see any improvement either, because you're not hitting the body as it's at its peak adaption. So now that we've talked about the science behind the stimulus recovery adaption graph, you can understand that recovery is an extremely important part of training and improving. So what is recovery? Recovery is characterized by three things. The first thing, you gotta get the bad guys out. The second thing, you gotta get the good guys in. And the third thing is you have to restore range of motion. And so getting the bad guys out, what does that mean? Well, when you do train and put that stimulus on your body, your muscles are gonna have these micro tears that create this waste that's gonna be in your muscles. We need to get that out. And so how we can do that is through the lymphatic system. But the lymphatic system is not like the cardiac system, where your veins are pumped by your heart. The lymphatic system is pumped by your muscles. And so light muscular activity that's not gonna put strain on the muscles is how we're gonna get those bad guys out. The next thing we need to do is get the good guys in. Now, what are the good guys? The good guys is blood. Why is that? Because in your blood, you have blood platelets, which contain these cells called undifferentiated mesenchymal cells. And these cells are like the superhero cells of our body, that when we have some kind of stimulus that breaks down our body or some kind of injury, those cells come in and they lay down, they become that type of cell, and they rebuild the area. And so we want to get blood to the area so that we can rebuild the body. Again, light muscular activity is going to get that blood into the area. But of course, we don't want to put extra stress on that muscle by further breaking it down. The third thing is restoring range of motion. And how we're going to do this is through mobility work and work that's going to allow our body to restore that full range that we're going to use as athletes. Some of the things we like to use include the Mark Pro, light forearm exercises, waiter walks, the shoulder tube, voodoo floss, your everyday mobility work, and many other exercises. It's very important to integrate your throwing and strength programs together, because you want to make sure that everything is perfectly planned out to where you're having enough time to recover in between your high intensity days, giving your body time to recover and make the adaptations that it needs to make. So as you can see, recovery is an extremely important part of your training. Make sure you're giving your body enough time in between high intensity days to make the adaptation that it needs to make, but not too much time to where it's never getting better. Stay fearless.